At the heart of what we always try to do as a poverty forum, right back to 1997, and I'm sure Chris will remember it well, is we try to give a voice to lived experience. That's why it was really important today to start with a group who've come all the way up in their minibus from Redruth, from CN4C, and a group called VIVA. And I'm going to ask Rose now to introduce them so that we start hearing lived experience of people in Cornwall today. So thank you, Rose, and a round of applause to our presenters.
So we come from CN4C in Redruth, Cornwall Neighbourhoods for Change, and we are a co-design group named VIVA, which is Valued, Inclusive, Voice and Achievement. That's the t-shirt. We've written some monologues and we've got some poems for you today, okay? So I hope you enjoy them, alright?
Please, sir, can I have more? Do you know I think we're going backwards in time right now? It's like the days of Oliver Twist again. People are using food banks more than ever before. People in employment, settled jobs, nurses and people like that. All go into food banks because they can't afford to eat. Closed banks, loan sharks, crisis loans to cover ever-increasing debts. Cost of living has gone up and up, inflation taking up the basics, but not bringing up our wages. Those in power say to write a list, plan ahead, buy in bulk, buy reduced range. We've been doing that for decades, if we can. I mean, I can't buy in bulk, I've got no storage. I buy day-to-day me, going down the store at the end of the day, buying reduced and nearly gone off to feed my family. Helpful hints, bar humbug. Waitrose essential king prawns are not essential to us, and never have been. We're not eating mashed avocado on sourdough toast. We're eating basic pasta with 20% fat mince.
I feel like Fagin these days, counting my money so carefully. An adult, over 25 years, gets £84.80 a week on job seekers allowance. Have you tried to live on £84.80 a week? It isn't easy. It isn't possible. Let's do the maths. Electric, gas, fuel, about £37. That's what the energy cap says we need to spend. £8 on water, don't forget council tax. Then there's the internet to pay, another £5 because we've got to job search all week to get our allowance. That leaves £34.80. This needs to pay for food, travel, clothing, etc. And don't forget the loo roll. The amount a basic basket costs for one person per week is £47.83, so says the Food Foundation. When we say we are having to choose between heating and eating, you do the maths. We really do. We're already £13 over budget before we buy loo roll, toothpaste and other basic necessities. And we don't do presents at Christmas and birthdays. We can't afford to. You get paid monthly, so each month you are in debt. Holidays, time with family and friends to recharge, can't afford it. You wonder why we're lonely? The last time we went for a meal was after COVID, 2 years or more. Hobbies and leisure, we can't afford the materials to spend time enjoying these things. Can't watch TV because we can't afford a licence. Can't afford to go out, the bus is too expensive now. That £2 bus fare was a treat. When you say fuel crisis, you mean petrol or diesel. We mean to heat or eat. We're all in this together? I don't think so. We don't need advice, we need money. We ask for money, not advice. We don't have disposable income, we just feel disposable.
Oliver Twist, I'm the Artful Dodger. Do you know, I just found out, because I'm young, 20, I can legally get paid less than some of my colleagues doing the exact same job. What a stinking truth that is. Not to mention that I'm constantly told to balance my budget, live within my means, by the same government that in 21-22 budget year had a deficit of £125 billion. That's right, they can't do a balanced budget and they've got billions. How am I supposed to do it with just a few pounds a week? I'm stood here thinking of all life's little luxuries that I can't afford. A pet, a bus to the beach, a trip to see some relatives or friends, a nice, decent hot meal, buying someone a gift on Christmas or their birthday. I'm always working or on flipping job search, so I can't even pick some flowers from the hedges to gift them. Halloween, Valentine's, Christmas, they all go past without notice. Have a holiday? From what? No chance. I like a bubble bath sometimes, but I can't afford the bubbles. Sometimes I turn my freezer off to save money. I don't eat fresh fruit and veg, paracetamol, sanitary wear, got to buy my own now, and sometimes I just can't afford to. I just can't keep up. In some places, they have the real living wage. That sounds great, but I've heard in some countries they have a universal basic income. Everybody gets paid the same, needed to live among them. Poverty like what we have just doesn't exist there. Fair is fair. Get in the game, government. Let us exist and be free to be ourselves.
Charles Dickens wanted to show the reality of Victorian life through his books. Nowadays, the reality of my life is in the newspapers. Another disabled person wrongly taken off personal independence payments for seeming too healthy. The next thing is they're dead because they're frozen to death. The charity Scope has done some sums and says it's roughly £970 on average a month to be disabled and live. I get an extra £100 or so if I'm lucky and get PIP. But I've got to fund everything myself these days. Meds, special food, taxis to appointments, having the heating on more. They're not life's little luxuries to me. They're essential to keep me well, or as well as I can get. Every 3 years, I have got to have another assessment for my PIP, and that can take a couple of years or more to all be done, while I'm getting worse through anxiety. What they don't understand, them in power, is that things don't go away, or get better always, like autism or MS. They're there for always, they are. Right from birth or diagnosis. My needs might change some, but it's dependent on getting the support I need when I need it. And the way things are going, they'll always change for the worst. Now I only have one lung, and they still reassess me every 3 years, like they expect me to grow another extra lung. Not a chance. Thank you for that. I'd like to welcome up a couple more of the members of the VIVA Group. We like to speak truth to power, but we don't want to shout at them and get in their face. So we come up with some rhymes or some poems, or we've got a pantomime coming up, which we're going to present to councillors and stuff like that. So we're now going to present to you a couple of poems that we've done, which presented at other events and seem to have gone down well, and they're about lived life experiences. Thank you.
This is Pip gives me the pip. I've got this condition, you see, and they say if I claim PIP, I'll be better off than before. You could get money each month, they say, just for being chronically unwell. It doesn't matter if it's physical or mental, we treat them all the same.
They say, just fill in this form. A little detail we need, no more. Questions about continence. How do you eat and drink? How do you dress yourself? Can you talk to strangers? Make your way alone out the door.
Digging into my whole being and life, they want to know everything and more. Do it on your worst day, they say. Do it on average, or at your best. It's all confusing. Do you get the gist?
Traumatic experiences, all relived, remembered trauma, all for a few quid. Send it off within a month of arrival, but a year or more later, there's still no conclusion.
Back pay maybe may clear the debt you got from being disabled. Did you know it's over £500 per month more expensive to be disabled than not?
And then, when you are asked to renew after a year or two, you have to go over everything again and again. If there's no record of you already, do it all again, like before.
Pip gives me the pip. It make me hungry. It gives me pip.
Hypothetically, it could become unease, but actually waiting, it gives me unease. Sitting waiting by the phone, all it does is make me moan. The injustice of it all.
The masses wait, I really hate.
The second one we're going to do for you is called 1559, and those of you in the know that that's the number of hours that you can work before you start losing benefits. 1559 to us is not a moment in time, it's becoming a no-go line. No compassion, no excuse. With DWP, there's nothing footloose. You want us not to be a drain, we are not sugar in the rain. What is doable one week, the next might need a tweak.
It's not us that cannot cope. Your system is a misanthrope. Label us as on the rob. We want a career, not a job. Permitted work is such a label, enough to make anyone unstable. Whip away our safety net. Predictable failure is what you'll get.
Completely different rules for families. No rhyme or reason, chalk and cheese. Better off in work, you guarantee, but that's not our reality. Working families on the breadline, lose free school meals, that's not fine. Travel to work, prescription fees, childcare and holidays brings us to our knees.
7 pints of milk and a dozen eggs. For this, you took out my legs. You took away £78 for this, left my family in a financial abyss. If work is to work, we need flexibility. We need to trust your credibility. Don't tell us about childcare or our disability. We need person-centred agility.
Thank you.